much of the rest of the world and create a cost-free college option for kids who want nothing more than to better themselves and serve their country. Who here likes to go to a restaurant where the chef coughs into their taco bowl? Hands? Anyone? It's time to allow a sick person to stay home and get better without fear of losing their job. And let's create millions of jobs by investigating in our infrastructure, building badly needed roads and bridges and public transportation, and lead-free water pipes. I know that's right, that's one of those out there things that we're still talking about. We should also enact trade policies that open markets but don't cost American jobs to countries that pay their workers slave wages. And let us acknowledge, once and for all, that health care is a human right. It is hardly a radical proposal to say that when you get sick, you should be able to see a doctor, and you should be able to get medicine to make you better if it's available. And the only way to guarantee that that human right is something that everyone has access to is a single-payer health care system that can never be taken away from you and puts patients before profits. If we do these things, create good jobs, make those jobs pay, make sure you can get health care, make sure that you can educate your kids, we will make the lives of all Americans livable, and the Koch brothers will still be able to afford to go out for their birthday. Our second crisis is political. Our founders constructed an amazing system of government, never before seen in the world. They were smart guys, although it would have been nice if they included a couple smart women as well. But in recent years, increasingly aggressive gerrymandering, as was discussed previously, has made most of our elections non-competitive. Worse, it has made it so incumbent politicians have little political incentive to reach across the aisle, to accomplish things, to look reasonable and moderate. Their incentive is to look rigid and uncompromising. That's why we can no longer work together. That's why Washington is no longer in the business of solving problems. There is no greater example of the evils of gerrymandering in this country than the district you are standing in right now. This district was drawn to ensure that your votes would never matter. When they drew this district to protect a Republican incumbent, they stole from you. But they didn't steal your TV or your stereo. They stole something far more precious. They stole your democracy, they stole your voice, they stole your vote, and it's time to get it back. Our campaign finance laws and Citizens United have made our elections about money rather than ideas or talent. And the voices of average Americans are increasingly being drowned out in a system that looks unresponsive at best and rigged at worst. Then there's this. For 200 years, politicians of both parties have resisted the temptation to use a temporary hold on power to pass laws to make that hold on power permanent. No more. The last decade has ushered in an era where there are more aggressive and extreme forms of voter suppression that are being passed into law. Voter ID, ending early voting on days where Democrats tend to vote more, moving polls, making it harder for poor people to get there, cutting the number of voting machines in certain areas to create longer lines, purging the voter rolls, goofy sham presidential commissions. We've seen it all. And I've said it before, in even more colorful language. But I would say again to my Republican friends, if you have to stop people from voting to win elections, your ideas are bad. See how disciplined I can be? In Washington, I'll fight for a voter bill of rights so that everyone can vote easily and be assured that their vote will count. Because if we continue to allow our democracy to erode for the sake of partisan advantage, we soon won't have a democracy at all. Finally, our third crisis, Donald Trump. They're not booing, they're saying Donald, Donald. Oh yeah. Let me be clear. I did not vote for Mitt Romney or John McCain. I didn't like their policies, and I did not like the direction they wanted to take the country. But they were both honorable men, and they would have both served respectably as President of the United States. But Donald Trump is different. He's unlike anything we've seen before in modern American history. And I think it's important to spell out exactly what we're facing, because sugarcoating this and pretending it doesn't exist is not going to help us solve this problem. He's aggressively hostile to the environment. He is yet to find a poison that he doesn't want to pour into our streams and into our air. Right-wing ideology has replaced science as a basis for policy. He is hell-bent on taking away life-saving health insurance from tens of millions of Americans, intent on destroying public education, demolishing our social safety net, and drastically cutting funding for medical research. He wants to cut and eliminate Meals on Wheels, the arts, funding for the Holocaust Museum. He has pretty much destroyed our European alliances and has appointed a group of people to high office whose only qualification seems to be their utter lack of qualifications and their hostility to the very mission of the agency that they're supposed to head. But comparatively speaking, these are his good qualities. Because even before we get to policy, we have to face the fact that in terms of temperament, character, intellect, and psychology, he has proven himself totally unfit to be President of the United States. He's a narcissist, a bully, a braggart, juvenile, and mean. He encourages violence against protesters, the press, and his political opponents. He has debased the office and made us, at the same time, both a laughingstock and a source of profound terror around the world. He attacks and legitimizes any check on his power, including a free press, independent judiciary, the rule of law, and even the concept of truth itself. He tweets obscure and bizarre conspiracy theories. And while leaders of both parties reject outright racists and bigots, Donald Trump hires them to be his top advisors. And whereas our previous president respected strong women, Donald Trump mocks them, grabs them, and makes policies affecting women without any women in the room. And so what I have done, and what we all have a moral obligation to do, is to make it clear every day, this is not normal. The biggest danger we face is the normalization of this administration. Because if we become numb to what he does and who he is, we will lose our sense of outrage. And we will slowly stop resisting, and we will just accept his creeping authoritarianism. There is no law of God or nature that says that we have to be a democracy forever. We have to earn our democracy by fighting for it whenever it is threatened, and it is threatened now. Now, many people get this, including many brave Republicans who have risked a great deal to say that the emperor has no clothes. Sadly, however, almost none of these brave Republicans are in Congress. The congressional branch of the Republican Party has sold their soul. For what? A tax cut? Some Republicans contort themselves to defend the indefensible. Others agonize publicly over whether to be very concerned and do nothing or extremely troubled and do nothing. But the worst are silent. They say nothing. They know that our most basic values are under attack, and they hide, hoping it all passes them by. That, my friends, is not what leadership looks like. With the stakes so high, if you are silent, you are complicit. And history will not be kind to this complicit Congress. If you elect me to Congress, elect me to Congress, I will not be silent. I will not be silent when Donald Trump asks why he can't arrest reporters who write stories that he doesn't like. I will not be silent when Donald Trump tweets without evidence that President Obama was sick for tapping my wires. I will not be silent when President Trump fires the FBI director to stop his investigation into crimes ranging from obstruction of justice to treason. And when Donald Trump insults and degrades women, I will think of Brennan, and I will think of Jen, and I will walk to the top of the Capitol dome and scream from the top of my lungs. This is not normal. This is not acceptable. This is not America. Sometimes speaking out is all we can do. But if you're unwilling to use your platform to even do that, why are you there? These issues and these values are terribly important to me. The work of tending these values is all I've ever wanted to do, except for a brief period in the 70s when I wanted to be in Led Zeppelin. Well, if it wasn't for my utter lack of talent, I think I would have made it. We named our daughter Brennan after my idol William Brennan, the liberal icon of the Supreme Court.